When I had bowling, I took them with me. When I had softball courts, I took them with me. I took him out to the ball field, made sure he practiced. I taught him everything, almost everything that they knew. And one thing people don't know is that every time that they saw me, they always come running up to me. But I'm not going to let anybody take that away from me. You know, even though I was judged by your peers, not my peers, your peers. You know, it's like you said, they had a job. You know, I guess in your eyes you can thank them. You know, it's hard for me to accept that. You know, when I know the truth that come out. It's hard for me to accept that. You know, I've been tried twice in state court already. Been tried once in federal. You know, and it's like I tell my people back home, I know what the system was about. It's up to me to teach you about the system of the non-ending. Why I want to teach you? I've been through it. Utilize it to help our people out. I got arrested. Didn't know anything about the system. But I've had some attorneys, you know, that kind of educated me on that. You know, and I just told myself, take that education, take it back home, utilize it to help your people out. And I have. And even that, I'm not going to let anybody take that away from me. Nothing I say will ever bring my boys back. And every day I look at myself. I have a choice whether to get up in the morning. When food's put in front of me, I have a choice whether to eat or not. Kirk Montgomery, Keith Donovan don't have that. They didn't have a choice. But like I said, not knowing that they were in there, I did stick, and that's the reason why they're no longer here. That's how I look at it. But I'm not going to let anybody that don't know anything jump in and characterize it the way they want to. I'm not going to allow that to happen. Just like you wouldn't like me to come in here and say, hey, that sign shouldn't be up there. You wouldn't like that. So I'm not going to let anybody encroach my relationship with my sons. I'm not going to allow that. You know, but like I said, I didn't point at anybody else. I pointed at myself. Not only were they my son, they're the bus buddies I had. Whether you like it or not, they're the bus buddies I had. And I'm not going to let anybody take that away either. You know what they knew, I taught them about our ways. You may not like that, but that's our ways. Just like the young kids that you people have. You educate them through your ways. But we have our ways too. And I always told my oldest son, the one that went to school, not all our people understand what the white man says, nor can we read or understand what they write. Just like my granddaddy taught me. Go to school, learn about their ways, because one day they're going to try to come in with a piece of paper and they're going to tell you to sign it here. They're going to tell you it's a good thing, but we don't know how to read, we don't know how to interpret it. So when you learn about your ways, utilize it to help you people out. And that's what I was teaching Montgomery. I allowed him to go to school. I wanted him one of these days to help his people out. When the elders, when they can't read and write, nor can they speak, I wanted him to be getting up, translating, interpreting things, what's on a piece of paper. To me, that was important. You may brush it off as you saying, oh, he being prejudiced. It's not. What we have here, it can't be bought. You cannot take it away from us. We're strong people. Believe in the beliefs that we have. Just like you believe in the system that you have. That's your system. The beliefs that we have, we don't try to impose it on you. Why? Because you're not one of us. Vice versa. Is it that way? No. My law, I'm going to impose it on everybody. That's dictatorship. Decorate it any way you want it, but that's dictatorship. I'm not going to allow anybody to strip what I had with my sons. Nor am I going to allow anybody to belittle my elders, criticize my elders, which unfortunately happened in this case. Elders didn't tell anybody to come in here and lie. You may look at it that way, but it didn't happen like that. That's what I was talking about. You have your ways, we have our ways. You know, I can go in there. You got it on books. You have it on tapes. I can learn about your way. But when I learn about your way, I'm not going to convert, abandon my people, and go over to your side. I'm going to learn it to help my people out. That's me. That's what I want for my sons. Hopefully, you know, one of my kids is going to take up on that. Whether it be Rhonda, Adam Joseph, or Lauren Kirsten. I just hope one of them take that step. But as far as belittling the elders, now how would you like it, the group that I have, come up here, belittle a judge that was presiding over a case? What would they do? They would jump up and down through the ceiling saying, foul, foul, foul. That's what y'all did. They knew, the newspapers, the media, they knew that it was an image-making tool. They capitalized on it. And like I say, the reporters know what they write. When you know something, when you're writing something, you know it's not true. You're committing a crime. You call it fraud, I think. So every reporter that wrote everything about my elders was a lie. People are not with me 24 hours a day. Nor do you share the pain that I have. You don't know what pain I have. I know. And every time I gotta mention my kids, it's very difficult for me. And it's like I tell my people back home, you know, if what's being said is true about my sons not being there, I don't want to go back. Without my two boys, I got nothing. I got nothing. But I'm not going to allow anybody to come in here, whether you're in front of your own camera, whether you're writing with your reporters, to say, oh, he showed no remorse. I do have remorse. And everything that's being said today now, they get an opportunity to get up Just like that, they're going to try to take the carpet right underneath our feet. But I guess in this system, they're entitled to it. You know, but one of these days I will understand the system. One of these days I will. You know what y'all do in Congress? You know, do we go in there? Do we have an input in there? No. But you know, Congress pass a law and you say, hey, it's legit, it applies to you. If I have no input whatsoever, how can it apply to my people? But isn't that what y'all were preaching against? Dictatorship? You know, you people talk about democracy. Are we practicing that? Or are you practicing it? I think if anything, it's hypocrisy. And nobody's going to break the relationship that me and my people have. You know, you may try to come in and have an influence on some of my people. They want to banish it, go over that side, that's them. But I am who I am. My people are who they are. Because we were born with the language we speak in, with the culture we have, with the beliefs that we have. No legislation, no form of legislation makes us believe in the beliefs that we have. No legislation speaks the language that we speak. But it's your legislation that entitles the state to come in here and then portray me as they did, because they're allowed to do it. Just because it's legislation on a piece of paper doesn't mean it was true. I'm not going to come in here and go into too many details or anything too deep. But I just wanted to let you know, there ain't a day that goes by without me thinking about my two boys. Whether it means anything, I'm going to find out. There's only one person out there that knows the relationship that, you know, what kind of relationship I have with my two boys. Unfortunately, she's not here. You know, but that's her decision not to be here. I'm not going to beg or I'm not going to force anybody to show up. So, the unfortunate thing is that what was put on the table, that's what you see. And that's just the top. You don't see the inside, underneath, which is the true relationship that I have with my son. Nobody knows. But I didn't know that I was the advertiser. Maybe if I did, maybe they would have said, hey, what y'all saying ain't true. Only if I had advertised it, but I didn't. Because when I had my sons, I didn't know there was a law out there that said, hey, you had to let 50 some odd people verify that you got your sons. I didn't know that. You know, you may say the people that came up here and spoke said they're just trying to be on his side. I think those are the people that know the truth anyway. Whether you take it into consideration, that's up to you. That's all I got to say.
Thank you, Mr. Billie.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. As you know, this case is about the death of two children. That's all it's about. Nothing else. You heard from the mother of those children. That's what Kirk was talking about, and they spoke yesterday. This is a woman who had to be arrested to get her to come to court. She fears this system of justice. She wants nothing to do with it. She and Kirk spoke yesterday. It's a cordial conversation. That conversation is private. But when she spoke from the witness stand, she told you this, and the state didn't want her to say it, but it was what's on that sign, the truth. She knows, factually and in her heart and in her soul, that Kirk Billie didn't know those boys were in the back of that car. The jury has given that indication. And that's what this case is all about. And that's what this sentencing should be all about. It's not about domestic violence. It's not about prior acts of violence. It's about accountability for the death of two precious children whom this man loved more than life itself. We filed a motion for downward departure because the sentencing guidelines in this case, I think, are far too severe for the facts of this case. That's not to minimize the tragedy or to trivialize the verdict that the jury has returned. You are vested, thank goodness, because so much has been taken away from judges because of these guidelines that sometimes are just too harsh for the factual situation that a jurist finds himself confronted with. We are asking for a downward departure based on certain factors. One is the remorse that's shown by the person who's been convicted. I don't think anyone could speak more eloquently than Mickey Ratzik did to that issue, and I say no more about it. But there is something that Mickey wasn't even aware of, I think, at the time, when she was seeing this manifestation from the man who she came to represent and came to respect and know. A videotape that shows you exactly when Kirk Billie found out that his boy hurt clearly to depart downwardly. This was an isolated incident. We're not talking about past incidents that the state will probably tell you about that influenced the jury's decision, beating with sticks and things like that. It had nothing to do with what's before the court today. They're probably going to show you pictures of Marie Jim, a maniacal, drug-addicted, alcohol-addicted woman this time. I've got a 12-year-old nephew. He's a pretty smart kid. He's an A student. I'm very proud of him. Kirk Billie has a 12-year-old son who's here, who can't speak to the court because, as Ms. Ward said, these are shy people. They don't feel comfortable here, but he's here. In his own words, he's put on paper what he would say to the judge, Your Honor, if he wasn't so shy and so awed by the system. Dear Judge, my name is Alan Billie, AJ. I'm 12 years old. My father is Kirk Billie. I'm writing to you in support of my dad. My dad did the best he could by me, and I love him with all my heart for that. Please be lenient when you sentence my dad. He doesn't need to be incarcerated the rest of his life for one bad mistake. I want my dad to come home one day and be with me. I know I'm young, but I do understand why my dad is in jail. What I don't understand is why the state attorney thinks he did it on purpose. I know my dad loves all of his kids. Before the accident,